This is Real Race Talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show that started all, the original. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show from Texas. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee, the Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez. Studio 4 at the worldwide headquarters here in Round Rock, just north of Austin. So happy race weekend to everybody. Happy Monday to everybody. Welcome to the show. Rodney, how has your day been on this wonderful Monday?
It ain't been worth a goddamn, but that's okay. We just roll on and we just do the show because that's a good thing because can't even get this right.
I can't get the computer to work right either today.
When it comes time to doing the show right here, that's when we just dive in and have some real race talk, and that's what it's all about. And as you guys can tell, let me pull this off here for a second. So many folks in Houston telling me over the weekend that I looked horrible with my hair. So I got a haircut today, Bobby, because as I told you, I'm going to get my expired driver's license renewed, hopefully tomorrow.
Dude, it don't matter because they take the most horrible damn pictures. I was it was like 17 degrees outside in downtown Lockhart when I got mine done.
Yeah,
there at the old courthouse, and she didn't even tell me to smile. Like she was like, just look up. I was like, wait, what? And then looked up and poop, there was the camera, and I just have a horrible ass picture on my ID now. But at least I have a new one though. That's
the whole thing is, I mean, the one that I have on my driver's license now is a really good one because it was many years ago. I was way slimmer and way younger, but I mean, I did want to look more presentable because, I mean, at Houston this weekend, I mean, there were people, they're like, dude, you look horrible. And
the Houston fans
these were the fans. Yeah, these were the fans.
They're vicious, aren't they?
You know, I hadn't been there in a year or so, not quite a year, but into last year, and they're like, man, what happened to you? It's like it's called old age. It's called this sport. And all of that. So anyway, so yeah, I'm all cleaned up and polished up, and we got the lights on in here and everything. So hopefully tomorrow in that driver's license photo, I'm going to look somewhat.
Is the YouTube feed on? I can't see it.
It should be on as far as I can tell.
Oh, there it is. It finally woke up on my computer.
It's rolling. It's rolling.
Technology not working on my side today.
But as we dive into the show, lots to talk about. Looking forward to talking to James Lopez from Kennedale. He's going to join at 7 o'clock. He'll be on at 7. Then my man, Max Calles. And I love it with Max Calles because the whole thing is with NASCAR, with Suarez. And I love Daniel Suarez. He's a good dude or whatever. I met him, a couple times in passing. And the whole thing with the amigo and all that. I mean, the main amigo for us is Max Calles.
Oh, yeah. I love Max.
And the funny thing is, here's what's funny to me is I think a lot of folks, that somehow they didn't know that he was Hispanic when they'd be like Max Calles, and I'm like,
well, the McDonald part will kind of mess you up too.
Yeah, but I was always like, talk to him, not to say looks or whatever, but really dig in. He might have some Hispanic in him, maybe, just maybe.
I mean. Never mind.
Dude, the coolest part for me is when
y'all talk Spanish to everybody?
In Alabama. In Alabama, man. We get over there and we're talking Spanish, and the coolest part is we're talking about people. and everybody's like, ha, 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 ha. It's that uncomfortable laugh,
Oh, look, they're talking Spanish. How cute.
They walk by and they hear us and we're like, whatever, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. And it's like, man, if you knew what we were saying about you, you wouldn't be patting us on the back. No, but I mean, good dude right there, and I love what he's doing. And we'll talk about it with him later in the show. And again, he's 720. James Lopez. Hey, Cinco de Mayo. We got a Cinco de Mayo theme happening here post Cinco de Mayo.
Well, we were closer to Cinco de Mayo today than we were on last. Yeah,
Ocho de Mayo. We're Ocho de Mayo today. So that's all good. We'll talk about that. So really, really cool stuff there. But, I mean, we're going to have to dive into the show. We're going to have to talk about NASCAR. I know people don't want to. And since we may not have a platform to talk about it anymore, we'll dive in and discuss that. But here's the other thing that I do want to talk about. It really seems like, people don't want to say the R word, the rain word, but man, these tracks getting snake bitten by and guys, if you're looking at racing this week,
Have a plan B, buddy. Have a plan B, unfortunately.
Here's your plan B, guys. Here's your plan B. It's Mother's Day weekend. It can all work out really nicely to where you guys could be like, okay, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't race this weekend because it's Mother's Day weekend. Because I'm here to tell you guys, I don't know about you, depending where you're at. I mean, I can tell you all across Texas, they're talking about 5 or 6 inches, and all the models are saying the same thing. So and that's one thing I want to talk to James, because we get back to the whole thing with the promoters having to call races, and it's like, come on. I mean, cut them a break here. It's not favorable to race, right?
Well, it's not a good idea to race when it's an 80% probability of rain. It doesn't matter what surface you have. Obviously, the dirt tracks have a little bit more are affected slightly more by weather, but everybody, sometimes it's not the racetrack, it's the pits, it's the parking lot, it's some of that matters more. Sometimes the roads to get to the places can be messed up and flooded. So, unless you try to remember our conversation last week trying to get out of the pits at Cotton Bowl when it rains. I still had people. We were talking about that with Butch there, Butch and Lisa there. We were talking about different tracks raining out.
How good was it to see him there?
It was fun. I had a good time sitting there with Butch. I went, for those that say that sometimes I don't go and support racing, I was supporting racing. I actually just got to go as a fan and support the racetrack that way. So they didn't have much for me to do. So, you had the announcing stuff going down, and Terry Barton was knocking down the race directing stuff. So I just got to sit and support the racetrack as a fan and saw some damn good racing in Houston. Probably some of the best asphalt racing I've seen in Texas in a hot minute.
Well, and that goes back to, with all of that, we were talking after the races, and it's like, I know the car count was lacking. And again, come on, bootleggers, where the hell are you at? I mean, I'm calling you out right now. I mean, this whole thing comes out. I mean, I know with Gina and everything at Gulf Coast, Alan Alexander comes out and he's like, here's what I want to do. Here's my plan to do all of this. And then, Houston has, the thought as well, knowing here in Texas, we've got all these cars sitting that everybody always talks about that. Well, I got one sitting back there. I got one back in the weeds ready to go. All I got to do is pull it up. Well, shit, guys. I think race 1 was what, March? March. Here we are in May. What was that? May 1, 5, 6, May 6. And there were.
I only know of one more that's getting built right now.
Well,
on social media.
Well, and that's the whole thing to me. It's like people are talking about, I'm building a car. Well, shit, you've been telling us that you have them sitting. You got one over there that's been put away for however long. All you need is a place to go. Where the hell you at? I mean, I know that over there at 37, I saw our man Matt Hodge won, in an old super stock and whatever. But I think they had a grand total of 2.
They had 3. Just
like we sorry.
Did. 3.
Sorry.
Yes, 3.
Where you guys at? I mean, what more do you need?
But you know what? Congratulations to Chris Farr on picking up that first win, though. How
absolutely, and that was a
really good race, actually.
Well, I got to tell you, if you haven't watched that race, go to Race on Texas, the All Access, check it out, because that really was. I was talking about that during the race. That is the whole synopsis of that class. Is you had that Camaro, you had that Kyle Super Stock, and then you had that Houston Pro Stock, and they were going wheel to wheel. I mean, right there. I mean, everything was happening right there, and boom, there it was. I mean, there's your best example as to how that's supposed to work. And where are they? I mean, I would have thought in
I thought there'd be at least 6 by now.
I would have thought in Houston we'd have at least had a trophy dash by now.
Yeah, a 4 at the minimum, but I thought there'd be at least 6 by now, especially with the rain out.
Yeah. Question right there, Jason. Thank you. The Legends driver.
Broken ankle was what I heard.
Yeah, I saw him after the race. He was kind of hobbling around right there, and I went. Here's the coolest thing about that. And as I was talking about on that All Access broadcast, I mean, having driven those cars and had come to a grinding stop before, I went and looked at that race car, and that is a beautifully built race car to where, I mean, the roll cage, everything was intact. You went and you looked, the whole front snout was turned over to the other way. But you went in and you looked at the cockpit, and nothing was compromised in there. Nothing at all.
The dash looked, could have been considerably better. But you're right, the post and stuff did their jobs. The crossbar at the top did its job, but yeah, the dash and that steering column. You see, it was bent two separate ways.
Yeah, well, that's that knuckle that you have in there, and that's the whole thing is, and that was always the thing for me, where I was always thankful talking about Butch, to where I wound up driving that 27, later became the 28, then the 4 car, is that car was built for a big dude. So my head was always below the bars. And, anytime that your head went forward or whatever, luckily, nothing ever happened there. But that's the main thing with that. But that was scary. That boom right there was, man, I had not heard a crunch like that in a very long time. And then the modifieds. I mean, that one too, that was scary as hell.
I didn't realize. I knew that I could see the tail side of Robert Walton's car. But I had no idea that it was he come as close to. I mean, he was on 2 wheels for a hot minute.
Yeah.
You could chat, and actually, you don't even need the all access pass from Race on Texas. If you go to the Race on Texas Facebook page, they've got a view of it over there. Yeah, that talks about the big one there in Houston. So
yeah,
you could kind of feel that one coming a little bit from the grandstands. But did you know that Robert Barker's Outlaw is faster than the race winning Modified?
Is that right?
Not by much. It was like a 15.1 to a 14.92.
Well, I can tell you one thing. He left all the Outlaws in the dust, and that made perfect sense now that you say that, because he is in his own zip code when it comes to that. Now, I do want to address something there. I mean, I'm seeing the post there about the Mobile situation. And again, I honestly, guys, I see you guys calling me during the day. I don't know the details of what the hell's going on with all of that, but I can promise you that something will be posted or mentioned or whatever the hell, whatever is going on there. I can tell you that you guys are going to find out in a timely manner. But I do want to kind of talk about that before it all comes out. I mean, be a little considerate. I mean, that's another situation to where it's somebody putting their ass on the line to try to give us all a place to race. And, we've seen it time after time, and just be considerate. This is not the place to do it. I like what I'm seeing there. You guys want to talk offline? That's great. Just don't do it here. Don't do it here, because for one thing, I know I'm affiliated with all that. Don't drag anything into this show, please. So anyway, but that will all come out. Whatever's going on there, that's going to be figured out at whatever point.
Yeah, and also one of the things we noticed is, and we got some feedback in Houston to change the subject from Mobile back to the show.
Yeah,
is that we have found out that apparently a lot of people aren't getting the notifications like they used to get notified that we were on the air. Even though most people should know by now, Monday, 6:30, we're live on Facebook and all over the world.
Yeah.
But apparently, some people aren't getting the notifications. I'm trying to figure out the way to get it done. I know that when you first pop up, it says Revved Up is live. Click here to receive the notification that that the next videos are coming. So y'all double check into that. I think that's where some of the people have been missing out, despite the fact that they know fairly good well that we pretty much almost every single Monday at 6:30.
Yeah, I don't understand a lot of what's going on with all of that. I mean, how all of those dynamics work and all of that. But I can tell you one thing. This is where I go back to negative posting and negative different things. I mean, if people may be saying bad things about whatever, that tends to kind of shrink stuff down and move stuff down to the bottom of the pecking order and all that. So when I'm talking about saying bad things about Mobile, I would hope that nobody has anything bad to say about our little program here. But I'm sure that factors in. So be positive. Be positive. We're here for you guys.
And also, if you can't get the Facebook stuff to work, you can also get notified on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Don't forget, if something ever happens to the Facebook feed, the YouTube feed is always up. Just search, as usual, Revved Up Sports Show. It pulls up all the RevvedUpSportsShow.tv followings there. So don't forget, you can like and subscribe to that channel as well.
Yeah.
Once we get to a certain number of people, YouTube would let us expand that channel, but we got to get a few more. Got to get a few more followers over there. We got 132 subscribers. We need about 178 or 878 more before we can monetize that.
And the whole thing is, well, don't say monetize. Nobody's going to click. But, the whole thing is, go to RevvedUpSportsShow.com, click on the damn thing up there and just watch it. Watch the replays. All of that is so important. But so diving into this, I mean, the weather is going to be such an issue this week. It has been all year. I know that's been frustrating for a lot of folks, and we go back to just how hard it is, for the racetracks to put these things on, and talking about everything. The one thing that I was glad about with Houston this past weekend,
it rained on Sunday.
Boy, did it!
Damn, it was rough coming back, wasn't it?
Dude, driving out of there, it was man, that was horrible. And I need wipers on my car. And dude, that was rough. That was rough. So that actually all worked out for the racetrack. But the other thing, I mean, it's I still constantly see. I saw it all weekend. I was talking to Chris David at the racetrack, and he's like, "Man, tracks are having to cancel, and they're getting blown up." And it's like, God, oh my goodness, come on. I mean, you got to be better. That's what we're talking about. That positive feedback thing. You're only hurting the product. You're only hurting the reach. You're only hurting all of that when you get on there and. Guys, we talked about it last week. If you want to be a crowd, we asked last week on the question. So how would you do that differently? Nobody had an answer. I mean,
nope. And our buddy KR got rained out again. Poor dude. And he posted the pictures, and that track was trashed. I mean, that track was flooded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and still getting beat up a little bit about having to do that.
I know, it's pretty sad. It was as bad as it was, he still got beat up over it.
Yeah. Same old thing. You guys, come on, be better. Speaking of that, let's talk about the question of the week. Let's go to NASCAR. Even though I know you guys don't want to talk about it. The race yesterday was this shot, and I mean shot in the. We can talk about the punch. We can talk about the ending. We can talk about all the passes, all of that. The fight. Is that the
punch? Maybe
is that the shot that NASCAR needed that maybe is going to win it some appeal as we get set to go to Darlington? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's the race that they needed. The problem is they needed it 4 or 5 races ago.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. I think we've learned the one thing that makes to it that this car was designed to work with the 1.5 mile package. And when it's 95 degrees outside, it makes for a really good race. At least on the tracks that have really high wear, like Kansas and Homestead and a little bit of Vegas. But to me, that really wasn't much of a fight. That was for Noah Gragson, that was kind of a fuck around and find out moment, if you will, pardon the French. But if the security dude in the red shirt, or not red shirt, brown shirt, like Noah Gragson was trying to fly back and trying to fling back at him and punch back, and that other guy grabbed his arm to keep him from coming back. It's like, just let him fight. Get that damn way. Yeah.
Well, if you happen to miss what we're talking about, here's exactly what transpired after the race, after the really good race. It was the excitement after the race yesterday. Here's what happened.
I haven't seen a replay either, but obviously he was side drafting really aggressively like you would, but he was like touching me, it felt like, and it just had me kind of out of control. So, I wish we could see what was
interview interrupted
going on here, I guess.
That's Noah Gragson and Ross Chastain.
The guy in the brown shirt really screwed that up, man.
Yeah, to me that was the best part. Here it is again. I mean, take another look right there. I mean, lit him. And the whole thing was, looking at this is where I go back to, with the whole keyboard warrior thing.
Gragson's trying to flee. He's trying to fight.
Yeah.
But what a punch. What a punch by the watermelon man.
Well, that's
a right hook.
This is where I go back to, with all the folks that, lots of folks that want to bitch and complain about Ross and everything, whatever's going on with him. Right there, that's how you answer that. And it goes back to the keyboard warrior thing. Everybody's always bitching about something. If you want to say something, how about being constructive? And that's what might happen right there.
I just really hope they don't get fined for that. That really wasn't enough to get fined for.
No.
That's a lot of people on social media are like, they're going to get fined. They're going to, they're going to take away.
No, ain't nobody going to get fined for that.
They're going to be fined for that. One punch that got broken up after.
No. And I saw folks, and again, with the NASCAR conspiracy folks, the Chastain sponsor was the race sponsor. It's like, this was all rigged. Come on, man. Come on.
No.
No, it wasn't. I mean, the whole thing was, it was Gragson goes up and he wants to be the one that wants to poke the bear that everybody talks crap about.
He said it in his interview.
Right.
He did. He was like, no one else has the balls to stand up to him, and I decided And what was bad, the contact between him and Gragson, between Gragson and Chastain, was not that big a deal on the racetrack.
Bobby,
there's been considerably worse.
He's 5 laps down. And this is where I go back to talking about all of this, with Ross and NASCAR and the drivers and all that. The dude was 5 laps down. He's the one that actually had the nuts to go up there and confront him. And, everybody else that's been pissed off at Ross, nobody else has done it. Even Denny was laughing at it, afterwards. Denny and Ross seem to be in a good place.
Yeah, I guess.
He congratulated him in victory lane. I saw that.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
I didn't see that. I had multiple things happening there.
The fix is in. No, I'm just kidding.
They just did it for the money, right?
Yeah, that's right. But the whole thing is, right there with that. I mean, that's what we want. But the whole thing with Chastain, to me, the coolest part was Chastain steps back. If you watch his whole thing, I'm gonna play it again. If you go back and you watch his whole thing, when this is going on, we'll have to go back and reset this thing. And I think this view doesn't really give it. But to me, as this is going on, we'll let it. Chastain is trying to hold his hands down and all of that, and then he had enough. He had enough. Gragson said the wrong thing, and then boom, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happens. And that's where I go back to, keyboard warriors. I mean, have the balls to say something that you would actually tell them in person. Noah Gragson had the balls to say what everybody else wants to say about Ross, and he got cold cocked. But
this feud is not over.
No,
not even remotely over.
This is where I wish that Noah was in a good car. I wish Noah was like in a Hendrick car, or even better, in a Ford. That you could really tie this thing up. And
because where's Eddie Gossage when you need him? Right?
I know. And the whole thing is with this is where I'm talking about with NASCAR. So you have all this going on, and now you're going to Darlington. That's right,
Yes,
Darlington,
Darlington
you
and North
weekend.
Wilkesboro back to back. Who would have ever thought that?
Here we go. We're going to the short tracks. We're going to all these places to where this can really materialize, but I don't know if it will do what it has done in the past, to where you got all this momentum and it's going to the flame blows out. So
the problem is the Darlington races have been damn good over the course of the last 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
More often times than not, I guess I should say that the Darlington races have been very good. With this new car, it wasn't as great as it could have been last year. But the races have seen an uptick. I think we've seen the tracks with the really big tire fall off become the best races, and that's obviously Darlington with all the sand there in the sand hills of South Carolina definitely has the biggest fall off of all the racetracks we have out there till they get to North Wilkesboro, and the pavement's going to start coming up in the middle of the All-Star race. But we've to go back and check out that archive. I think that's a Saturday show we talked about. Just watch, the pavement's going to start popping up at North Wilkesboro.
Well, and the whole thing is with all of this, I mean, this is where I come back to even the short track guys. I mean, I know we see a lot of, flipping people off and throwing helmets and all of this. I mean, and I'm not saying that you need to get out there and fight, but what I'm saying is if you're really pissed, do what Noah Gragson did. I mean, he kind of took it upon himself. And this was the best part, Bobby. The whole end of that race to me, everyone is saying, Denny Hamlin's dirty. He did. No, he's not. He didn't wreck him.
Yeah, he put him in the fence.
But he was up against the fence.
Had he not finished second, there'd be a whole different discussion about that.
He was sitting up there rim riding, doing what he does, and Denny, being the veteran that he is, he put his nose in there, and boom, there he goes. But a lesser man, a lesser driver, man, woman, child, whatever, dog, whatever it may have been, would not have saved that car like Kyle did.
Yeah,
like Kyle.
That was
did.
a hell of a save. I think if he doesn't finish second, though, it's a different discussion about Denny Hamlin being dirty.
Well, and the whole thing is, I've seen.
What did Caitlin say on her tweet?
I don't know.
Actions accidental. It's like it was a pun. Is a pun on Denny Hamlin's podcast.
I keep seeing people say, Denny wrecked somebody again. He ain't wrecked nobody. I mean, usually he's the one getting wrecked, honestly. Whatever the case is right there. But that race had it all. I mean, he had all the passes. You had everything. Who would have thought Who would have thought that we would be talking about a NASCAR race in 2023 to where it's like racing on a mile and a half cookie cutter to where that's the best race of them all. You know, they designed this car to fix everything, and it's kind of stunk up the show on everything else. But on the mile and a half, that's where the shit really seems to be good. That race was great yesterday.
Actions hypocritical was her tweet.
Well, I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that's one of those things to where Denny did. Racers, you guys know, what would you have done if you see this guy sailing up there on the top side? What are you going to do? I'm going to stick the nose of my car in there. If he's coming out with his ass in hanging out and he's up against the fence, and I know that I can stick my nose in there, and when he comes back across, I'm going to clip him and kind of, I don't want to wreck him, but I can get him out of the way. That's exactly what I'm doing. Thank you, Rick. Great to see you as well, my man, and great win, my friend. Rick Pilero, everybody.
Oh, Rick's on? Oh, look at that.
The man right there. And how about that,
That's
Rick?
a hell of a good run by the old man, I got to say.
Well, you know, I don't call that dude quite old yet. It's so funny. I was watching him. We're coming out for the pill draw and all that, and he's all kind of dressed all casual and all this, and you put that helmet on there, and the zippy hippie goes back to doing what he does, winning races.
Well, I asked him, I said, well, who's driving your truck when I saw him before y'all did the pill draw? And he's like, the old man's driving. Who? Which old man? He's like, me, I'm driving. Like, oh, well, shit. Hell yeah. Good luck, dude.
Yeah. No, good stuff. Second appearance there for him in Houston. And again, fat guy. Come on, Rick. Crying out loud. And I got to tell you, Rick Pilero, full disclosure right here. Rick Pilero saved the day on the pill draw in the truck thing when we were on the stage, because we sat out there and Owen and I are doing all this drawing and, you know, doing whatever. I had no idea what I was doing. And nobody really knew who drew what. But Rick, with that cat-like mind right there, he knew who drew what, and we got it all verified, and Rick was right, and we'd have been up shit creek without Rick.
Nobody was down there writing down the stuff?
No.
Oh, wow.
Come on, man. What kind of show you think we run over there?
I'm just saying.
Or they run. I don't work there. I just showed up. Special appearance. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you, Rick. That was really cool. And thank you for checking in. Really cool to see you out there racing and being a part of that again.
That was a hell of a race. The truck race was really good. Yeah, all the racing was good.
It was all clean, and that's the thing that I kept talking about there, because I know the show before, things got a little dirty, things got a little off the hook, and I can tell you one thing, so many different races that we saw in Houston on Saturday night, they came down to last lap passes and just good, clean racing. And there is nothing wrong with people leaning on each other. Even with the wreck that happened in the modified race, I know we had a lot of hurt feelings, and thank goodness everybody was okay. But the bottom line is that was racing. That was racing. I mean, shit happened on the racetrack.
It happens.
Unfortunately, the result was not good, but that's just kind of the way that works.
It happens. I mean, you're bound to make a little bit of contact. You're bound to make a little noise every once in a while, kind of racing each other. But for all in all, the racing was damn good on Saturday night, even under a full moon.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought it was really good, and I think that things are going to continue to pick up there and be exceptional as that schedule moves up. Let's go to the hotline for the first time tonight, top of the hour, 7 o'clock. And we're heading way up north, one of the great racetracks. We've never had the privilege to talk about this racetrack other than just general discussion. But here is the man in charge over at Kennedale Speedway. It is our friend, Mr. James Lopez. James, how we doing, sir?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Thank you for taking the time. I know you have a complicated schedule, so I appreciate this. James, before we really dive into everything with Kennedale and nuts and bolts and all of that, I want to talk to you about, you had that, we talk about it here all the time, that discussion about having to call a race, you know, with weather, and that sucks. I mean, you're put in a very bad spot. Talk about what you were put up against this weekend.
Man, it's a really tough decision, and you know, I always tell people I'm a racer first and a promoter second, and it's a tough job. But I've been that guy sitting out in the parking lot when it starts raining, or you know, when you call a racetrack and they go, "Oh no, it's not raining." I'm like, "Dude, it's raining. We're sitting in the parking lot." Oh, sorry, you know. And so I don't want to be that guy. You know, I know that sucks to drive there and load your car up and get out to the track and get rained out, and you know, if they'd just called the race an hour or two before, I could have went somewhere else and still got the race, and that's what we wanted to do. We just, you know, they were predicting bad storms and hell, and I thought, man, this is going to be horrible for everybody, and a racer's going to come to the track if you're racing. that's just the nature. They're going to come.
Yep.
And if I tell them we're racing, they're going to show up. And I didn't want to put them in that position to make that decision. I want them to have other options. And I knew that I'd spoke with Rob Poor at Abilene Speedway.
Yep.
Their forecast looked a lot better than anybody else's. And he was willing to waive all the registration fees for the racers. So, we cut them loose and fit them that way. And, it's hard to lock the gates when the sun's shining and it's 75 degrees outside. So.
No doubt.
So, James, you talk about being a racer first and a promoter. So, talk about your days back racing, and then how did you transition into taking over KSB?
It's kind of a weird deal. I was probably the biggest troublemaker back when I raced back in the the early '90s, and I think I was thrown out almost every racetrack around. It seemed like, and I look back nowadays, I thought, man, I was hell of them guys. I don't know how Richard Snyder and all of them guys put up with me back in the day, but hats off to them for doing what they've done for so many years. But so it's I don't know. Like I said, we raced back in the early '90s up to about 2000, and I've won over 200 features, won multiple track championships, and just I actually ended up getting hurt in a race car and got to a point where I couldn't even walk, and I had my C3 and C4 pushed into my spinal cord and walked around with it for about a year and a half, and finally one day I got out of bed and just fell to the ground, and that was it. And so now I have a titanium plate in my neck, and my wife said, "Hey, you're done. That's it." And so got out of racing for a little bit, and then about 2009, Bo Rowden from Southtown Speedway, he called me and said, "Hey, would you come out here and tech for me?" And I said, "Well, I'm been thinking about it." And I said, "Hey, it's a good way to get back into racing and see all the old guys." And so I started doing that in 2009 up until they closed, I think, in 2010 or 2011, something like that. And then I went to work for the Tom Series, traveling with those guys for about 5 years, doing their tech. And it was a beating sometimes because you would travel, to Lubbock or Amarillo or to Houston to, just always somewhere different. And then it's like old school again. Hey, you get out there and it rains out and you got a 2-hour drive back,
Right.
So Tony Dykes at Kennedale offered me a position to tech for him. And I live 15 minutes from the racetrack, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me. Nice. And, it's been home since. So,
And James, isn't that the thing? I mean, we see so many folks, with the transition, from behind the wheel to doing something else. I mean, we just love doing this. Even though we hate it so often, we got to be a part of it. And isn't that the funny thing? I mean, I always tell people, I drove for the longest time. When I stepped away, not that I've retired, but when I'm not driving full time, hell, I'm busier now than when I was behind the wheel. Isn't that the weird thing?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's exactly that way, man. I tell people all the time, I say, you can't believe I would have never. Now, I don't know that everybody else did the same things that I do, but my schedule now is twice as busy as it was when I raced. And when I raced, hey, you could just sit at the house or at the shop and, you can BS with all your buddies and bench race and work on race cars and have a good time, drink a cold beer. Now, man, you got responsibilities. You got to be at the racetrack. That racetrack is like my kid. I've got 6 kids, and that's like my 7th kid down there. And I worry night and day about the track, about what's done, what's not done. And that's why you'll see me down there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning working during the middle of the night.
Exactly.
Whether it's cleaning the bathrooms or sweeping the sidewalks, cleaning windows, whatever, just to try to make it the best it can be down there. So it's kind of like, racing. You want to win at racing. You want to win at what you're doing promoting. So we try to make it a great track. So
no doubt.
So James, Kennedale has been. I've been there more than a few times, and I love it. The facility's beautiful. It's a great layout. The stands are some of the most best ones that you get. It's short track racing. One of the things we've noticed after interviewing a bunch of the guys that race up in Kennedale is that when you win a race at Kennedale, y'all's weekly program is super duper strong. I mean, y'all have some of the best dirt racers in Texas and in the Southwest racing for you guys every week, and they consider it a really big deal when they win a race. Talk about how hard it was or how much fun it has been to build that really kick-ass ecosystem you got up there with all those really good racers.
Hey, let me tell you what, I used to tell guys back in the, in the 90s and stuff at Cowtown, Lynn Hayward, which is a guy from the Star Telegram a long time ago, I interviewed with him one time, and he was asking me about it. And I said, I really believe this with all my heart, that if you can come to Cowtown Speedway, you can win a race there.
Yeah.
You can go anywhere in the state of Texas and win a race because it's that tough a competition. And Kennedale Speedway Park is that way now. And guys will come there and they go, dang, man, these guys must be cheating. I said, no, these guys do their homework. These guys work really hard because there's no tougher place that's hard on tech than what we are. And I get criticized a lot because you don't have to win a bunch of races to get tore down. If I think that you're cheating or you're outperforming everybody, I'm going to find out why. Yeah. And so we look. And so when you come there and win a race, you've done something, and you can go anywhere and win a race if you can win at Kennedale. So the best guys that race around or show up there every weekend. Yeah. And it's something I think for them guys to compete against each other. If you want to be the best, you got to race the best. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And isn't that the thing? I put you guys, I put Devil's Bowl, Heart of Texas, kind of all in the same bucket, to where you guys, you're very consistent with what you do. It's a staple. People want to go there. They know what they're going to get. And I think that's kind of the one thing that hurts a lot of racetracks is it's like, what am I going to get? You go to Kennedale or you go to some of these other places that I'm talking about, you know what the hell you're going to get when you pull in that gate.
Yeah. I got to tell guys, hey, when you roll in that gate, I want everybody that comes to that front gate to have a chance to win a race. I want you to understand how our procedures are going to work, how we're going to do things. And, we try to stay consistent the way we run our program. I needed somebody like me back in the day to control me. And right. So people tell me all the time, well, you used to do that. I said, well, don't be like me. I said, right. You can have me back then telling you no. So when you come here, you know what's expected of you as a racer. You know what's expected of you as a fan. We want it to be a family atmosphere. Back when I raced, they didn't let kids under 15 go in the pit.
That's right.
And nowadays we've got babies and kids,
Exactly.
I drive through the pit and I see these 2 or 3 year olds sitting there beside their dad's race car playing in the dirt. And that's what we want. We want them to come out and have a good time with their family. And you want your kids to grow up right next to the race car, but I dang sure don't want them getting hurt. And so I'm really strict about our rules and what we expect of racers. And, I think that a lot of people appreciate that, and that's why they choose to come there.
That's right.
So, James, we talk about a couple of things when we bring every promoter on. The first one we talk about is the sanctioning body. When you get a chance, it always seems like it comes down to you get the guys that don't want to have to pay the license fee, and they don't want to have to pay for the stamp parts and some of that stuff. But as far as you've been it as a tech man before too, and now as the promoter. I mean, it's got to feel good when you have somebody backing you up, especially like an IMCA sanction, where you come through and say, "Look, it's not on me now. Look, let's make the phone call. Let's send the email." That's them saying that part's illegal, not me. You're out of the rule book by them. That's what we use. You're out. That's that simple.
That's exactly right. And hey, let me tell you what, IMCA has got some of the best tech support, from Brett Root to Dave Brand to Shelby Holder. I can call them guys at 1 o'clock in the morning and they'll answer their phone and tell them what's going on. I send them a picture of a part that's questionable, and just make sure, because you always hear a racer go, "Oh man, I talked to Dave. He said that was good to go." And then I call him Dave and he goes, "No, he didn't." So so we always double check. I was that racer before. Hey, oh man, I bought that car. It was on there, and I talked to the guy. They said it was legal. Okay, well, I don't believe you, so I'm gonna make the phone call. So, but no, it's great to have a sanctioning body like IMCA. They don't flip flop around on the rules. They don't change the rules every time somebody cries about something. They think out the process of what's going to affect before they just allow something. So I can appreciate all that. I like it that they stay pretty true to the rules, and they don't change them for who your sponsors are. They stick with you, and that's a big thing. Rule changes hurt everything. It hurts the racers. It hurts the fans. It's just when you start changing stuff around, it's just not good for racing at all. So So I appreciate all that, and I appreciate the long relationship that we've had with IMCA. With Kennedale Speedway Park for 20 years. So it's not like Heart of Texas for probably 50 years or whatever it's been now. But it's appreciated a lot, and I don't know. I wish more people would understand the process that they go through when they make rules and when they do change rules. So
it's all for the betterment of the sport, and I think that's
Sure.
folks think about the betterment of me, but it's about the betterment of the sport. So lastly, James, talk about, I know you guys, you got one coming up this weekend, weather permitting. We've been talking about that on the show, to where it's like weather here is going to be jacked up all across Texas. Hopefully that's going to work out for you guys, but talk about the rest of the year, some of the marquee events that you have coming up there at Kennedale.
Sure. Like I said, this weekend looks horrible again. It's just, it doesn't look like there's even a chance to get a break in there.
I know.
So we just wait and see. And again, we'll, depending on what it does Friday, whether or not we'll even be an option for us on Saturday. When again, we'll try to call it early if it looks like it's gonna be bad. We're gonna go ahead and call it. And if guys want to drive to Arizona or Mexico, wherever they can go find a race, because I don't see any of them in the state of Texas right now.
No.
You better have the old gas card ready to go if you're going to do some racing. It looks like in the state of Texas this weekend, but hopefully, Mother Nature, something crazy would happen. But right now, our next big show that we're going to have coming up is going to be our sprint car race on May the 20th, and that race is not just a race. The city of Kennedale has come on board with us, and they are doing a barbecue cook-off with a $5,000 payout that same weekend.
Nice.
And
Wow.
it's May the 19th and 20th at Kennedale, so that'll be a Friday, Saturday. So they're doing a big barbecue cook-off on Friday, and they have a big cornhole tournament going on. They'll have a big tent and, a nice laid-back atmosphere for everybody just to kick back with the family there. Friday, we're going to do that in the spectator parking lot closest to the grandstand. All that'll be blocked off, and they'll have all the teams that are cooking off out there. And that'll be on Friday. And then Saturday, their turn-in, I believe, is at 3 o'clock. They'll do all the turn-ins, and then we're going to keep them in the parking lot, and then we're going to give all of them free passes to come into the grandstands and watch the sprint car race.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be a big weekend for us. In the sprint car deal, we have a 5-race program for them this year. We will crown a champion in this Race Saver 305 Sprint, and it has a $1,000 bonus for the champion out of the 5 races. And so that's a pretty good deal for the racers, and that's coming up on May the 20th. That's probably our next biggest thing that'll be happening, and then after that we have our trailer race on June the 10th. Now it's gonna, and you know about this thing. Hey, clear the wall, because you don't know what's going to happen.
That's right.
The world famous trailer races.
Get out of the
KSP.
damn
That's
way.
right.
That's right.
Hey, this year though, we're going to spice it up a little bit. We're going to have a demolition derby before the trailer race.
Oh,
Nice.
We're going to have a demo derby on the front straightaway. And demo derby first. We're going to finish that. We're going to try to push the big stuff out of the way. Then we're going to turn them loose and have a trailer race the same night. So if you want to come see both, this is going to be your chance. One time this year, we're going to do it. A demo derby and a trailer race on the same night.
Man, that is awesome.
So
that's
awesome. June the 10th. So, but anyhow, no, it's our schedule just stays. If you look at our schedule, we just have all kinds of stuff going on. Whether it's with the kids or powder puff races or mechanics races, we just try to keep it real and keep something fresh for the fans. You go somewhere, you can watch the same 3 or 4 classes every week, and we have our junior limited for our kids because that's our future racers, and we try to make sure we get those guys in there. The Eco Mods, we started that deal just because it's an affordable race, for the drivers. Not everybody can afford a modified, and the economy the way it is, that's a good class for people to either step back or step up and get into that. So, check out our schedule. We got all kinds of stuff, and there's got to be something in there that you can appreciate or want to come see.
That's right.
So,
no, Good stuff, man. KennedaleSpeedway.com, I believe, is that site, man. That's old school, man. I love that. I love those events, dude. That is going to be really cool. I like the barbecue cook-off. That is badass.
Hey, it's just having the city of Kennedale doing this deal, so that's great. Hey, I actually had the mayor of Kennedale come out for the first time ever, and came out to the racetrack with her grandkids and her husband and them, and we opened up the VIP suite for them. They came down and gave Jan Joplin and her two grandkids gave the opening green flag for that night.
Awesome.
So that was pretty cool to have her there and supporting Kennedale. Where you've always had this deal where the persona is it's the racetrack against the city, fighting City Hall. But now with her in there, she's been real supportive of the racetrack. Daryl is the old police chief. He is now the city manager.
Love it.
Again, these guys are working really well with us. And, like I told them, hey, why do we have to be two? Why can't we be one? Why can't Kennedale be something for the city for people to come watch, like a tourist attraction? And we're working on some things to get that deal kicked off with the city and to make Kennedale more of a tourist attraction for people to come check out this racetrack. It's, right here in the middle of the DFW area. I mean, it's right in town. So, it's not like you got to drive 30, 40 miles to get to it. It's right there, 2 minutes off the freeway. So
yeah, no, man, that is awesome. That is awesome. People need to follow that lead, my friend. I tell you what, you have something happening there. I hear about Kennedale all the time. This insight has been great, my friend. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now you've been on here, open platform anytime, dude. Let us drive this for you. We'd love to help you out anytime that you'd like to jump on here and talk about Kennedale.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having us on here. And, this is what dirt track racing is about, being out there in the open for everybody and, just have a good time, enjoy racing. This was meant to be a hobby. Sometimes people take it way too serious and, you can make it not fun if you do it like that too much. So,
No doubt.
Go out and support your local dirt track racing and just have a good time with your family.
That's right.
That's the best way to look at it.
That's right. James Lopez, thank you for the time, my friend. Let's do it again soon, my friend.
Appreciate you guys.
You bet, man. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
You bet. There he goes.
That was good insight.
So many things that you can bullet point out of what he was talking about.
How cool is that, though, that the city... Because I have asked racers that race at Kennedale, what's the vibe up there? It's always been Kennedale versus the city. Now we get it from the head man in charge. He's got the mayor. He's got the city manager. They're going out seeing what a blessing of a property that place is. That's kick-ass that you have that support from the city, especially when they've had so many other racing entities over there kind of go the wayside. When you lost Cowtown over there, you lost the drag strip over there, you got the last remaining Kennedale Speedway Park over there. So the fact that he's got the mayor and the city manager out, not only out there, but having a damn good time when they're out there for the program, that's super important.
And the whole thing is, if the city is so involved that they're going to come plant a barbecue cook-off in your freaking parking lot,
that's big,
dude.
That's huge.
That especially up there,
priceless, actually.
Well, and like he talks about location. It'd be one thing if it was isolated out in the middle of nowhere, but seriously, that place is like right there.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of DFW.
That if you want to know how to run a racetrack, and they race every week,
and they have big shows every week,
all the time. Good stuff right there. James Lopez, Kennedale Speedway, really good. Thank you for mentioning that over the weekend.
That was a good idea. That was a good idea. Not just because it's my idea, but we've been needing to get him on for a hot minute.
I'm not sure how I've overlooked that, but I got a feeling that's not going to be the last time that he jumps on here.
No, he'll be on here again for sure.
Yep, really good stuff. You guys hang around. Coming up, we're going to talk to our man, Max Calles. That's right here on #Real Race Talk. It is the Revved Up Sports Show.
Sports Show. For the past year, you've heard us talking about our partners over at Generation Race Cars. I'm proud to say they're back again this year, and they're off to a great start. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built the same as you've seen in Victory Lane with drivers like Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, and Dean Abbey. All customers are valued and treated equally, so why not join the winning team? Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. If you're ready to join the team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call today at 817-528-2947. You put a lot into your racing program, so why not take it to Victory Lane with Team GRC?
Back again on a Monday night. Great conversation with James Lopez from Kennedale Speedway Park. Lots of insight. We love it when we have the promoters come on because, guys, we don't try to make it where we want the promoter to cry on your shoulder and all of that. But a lot of times we've noticed that the promoters have the best interests of the drivers in mind when they make a decision. And so we like to bring the promoter's perspective live and in person out to the world, because like we said, most of these guys, when you bring it on a keyboard warrior, that sucks for everybody. Most of these guys have, and gals, especially with Marianne and over there, Rob and Libby up there in Abilene, they have open phone lines. All you got to do is call them and work it out. And I bet you can work out the problem that you got.
That's a whole thing, and so many times. I mean, people don't think about the whole mindset of what they're having to do right there, but because they're thinking about, with the cancellation thing. I mean, having to call a race, and again, we've been in those war rooms where
it's such a hard decision,
and that's not a matter of sitting there, because everybody has a freaking weather app on their phone, and they're going to sit there, and this is actually where. I truly think that a lot of the best promoters are the ones that don't, and this is not a slight at you racers whatsoever. You guys all want to have input on everything. I really think that promoters that it's like, okay, it's on me. I mean, if something's going to be screwed up, it's on me. I mean, because the whole thing is everybody has an opinion. And when that starts happening, it's like, okay, well, I thought different. I thought different. I told so-and-so different. A good promoter hangs their ass on the line, and because it is their ass on the line. I mean, we can sit here and come up with all these great ideas, and talking about tracks closing and what's happening here and whatever. I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, we all have something to say, but when it all comes down to it, it's up to that group or that promoter that's going to be the one that has the ultimate say, and ultimately their ass is on the hook, and that's a funny thing. That's a funny thing, because when all of that input that the promoter gets when they ask for, hey, Bobby, you remember you were backing me up on that? You're like,
well, I mean, I was. Sorry,
I have nothing to say.
Yeah,
that's what happens. That's what happens. So these promoters that really, man, I love what he's talking about there, dude. That is a great show. It sounds like.
Yeah, I love Kennedale. Kennedale's fast. It's easy. It's a good show to sit through, and they have a really good time. It's one of those where we didn't get a chance because we knew we had limited time with James this evening.
Yep.
I was going to ask him about the relationship with Race on Texas, because that's one of the newer tracks that they picked up in the last year or so.
Yeah.
I was going to ask him how about their relationship with Race on Texas, but I'm sure it's good, just like with Chris and the rest of the tracks.
Yep.
So
that all ties in really nicely there. Great conversation. James Lopez there with Kennedale Speedway. All right, going back to the hotline for the final time tonight. One of my favorite people to talk to. All the NASCAR people talk about mi amigo Daniel Suarez. Forget all that, man. I've had this amigo way before that was even cool. Really excited to talk to this guy about all of the great things. Not only not behind the wheel as much right now, but when he's behind the wheel, he's really good. But man, he's got a fleet of drivers he's put together right there with his driving staff. My man Max Calles, how we doing, buddy?
What's up, Annie? What's up, Bobby? Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Max. Thanks for taking the time. So Max, let's talk about this weekend in Houston. You got Ethan behind the wheel. I mean, just everything happening right there. The 27 modified. You got a youngster behind the wheel of that 27 truck. Man, you got some badass race car drivers in your cars.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yes, I mean, everything went very good with everybody. It was a smooth weekend, thankfully. Everything went good. I mean, Ethan did an awesome job the whole weekend. He was the fastest all week, and he did the right things on the race. And also, we just got lucky to avoid that big wreck, with both of my guys there, with Ferrer too, that he got lucky there to avoid it. So, I mean, everything went good. First place for Ethan, second for Ferrer on his first ever race on a modified, and Kenneth on his first podium with a third place. So I couldn't ask for more, man.
No doubt.
So, Max, as you expand this driver development program that you've got here with Ethan and some of the other guys you have, is it almost more rewarding for you, or do you miss racing that much, or is it more rewarding for you to have the guys with the success they're having in your equipment that's top notch?
Well, yes, I mean, it's definitely rewarding on a different way, right? I mean, I really feel very good when they do good, because I feel like we are doing the right thing and working hard on the cars. So yes, I mean, it's just like I feel like a father feels, right? So it's definitely rewarding, but on a different way. I always like to race, obviously, but at the same time, I rather focus on them when they're racing, because I can do both. It's very hard to race at the same weekend as the other guys, so I feel very good and even more happy than they won, because I feel like I'm teaching them the right stuff, and it just feels very good.
Mm-hmm. And Max, I do want to ask you about that, because I know you and I talked about this at Mobile, at the super late model race, where you're talking about, and I think it's important because, with guys like Augie Grill, yourself, guys that are molding the drivers, it's not your time to be behind the wheel when they're racing. I mean, these are your customers, these are your proteges, these are the folks that you're trying to make better. And it's better for you, even though you're so damn good at racing, it's better for you to not be behind the wheel when they're racing. Again, they're your customers. That's your team.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so hard to focus on two things, right? I mean, because you want them to do good, and then if you race, you also want to do good. So it's very hard to manage that, and then the time and the focus. Last year, I was able to race the whole season in Mobile at the same time that I had my other guys on the same class, and everything worked very good. I mean, we made it work, but it was definitely very hard, I mean, it's a lot of time, and then I take focus out of my racing and then to put on them, and then sometimes it hurts you, right? I mean, the last two races that I did there in Mobile, I mean, I didn't even practice. Like, I literally just jumped on the car and raced just the way the car was. So, I mean, it's very hard to do that at the level that we race. I mean, everybody's on their A game. So, I mean, if I'm going to race, I'm going to race on a weekend where I'm off completely on the development side, right? So I can put all the focus on them, and I mean, at the end of the day, I want them to win when they're on the cars, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Max, obviously, we talked about you as a driver. For those that don't know your story about how you got to where you are, let's recap how you got to be in some of these super late models and modifieds, because you got a lot of diverse racing experience. You've raced a lot of really cool and kick-ass cars over the course of the last few years, haven't you?
Yeah, man, we've been very blessed to race a lot of different classes since I was a kid. I mean, either in Mexico and then here in the U.S. I mean, I started actually when I was a kid in road course in Mexico, because that's kind of the main thing over there, at least back then. I mean, over there, we don't have quarter midgets, we don't have legends, we don't have nothing to start, right? We only have go-karts, I mean, on road course, right? Yeah. That you also have here, but I mean, that's the only starting class pretty much to start in Mexico. So you have to start in road course if you have to be in racing or whatever you want to do. So I started on that, and then when I was 12, I jumped to the Formula cars over there in road cars, and we did some years on that. And then when I was 13, I jumped to the NASCAR Mexico Series when it was starting to get big. I actually raced with Daniel that same year on the same class.
Awesome.
I was 13 and he was like 18. We're pretty good friends since then. And like I said, I mean, well, the racing community in Mexico is more smaller than in U.S., right? I mean, everybody knows each other pretty much because there's not as many races as here. I mean, here it's crazy the amount of different series and classes and everything that you got. But I mean, it's almost confusing sometimes when you're starting.
Yeah.
So yes, I did that over there, and then when I moved to the U.S. in 2010, I stopped racing for some years, and I went back to racing on dirt, actually. I didn't know nothing about racing in the U.S., and here in McAllen, we had a dirt track back then, and that's all I knew, so I started running there on a sport mod, actually. But I really didn't know anything what I was doing. Like, I was just pretty much making laps, right? And then, luckily, after 2 years, I think, I got with very good people, with Steven Whitaker Jr. and all his family, and man, they took me in like family, and they helped me progress on the dirt side. And I mean, I can't thank them enough. I mean, they're still involved in my dirt stuff whenever I race, and they helped me through all that. Race for like 3-4 years, I think, on dirt with them on a sport mode there in South Texas Speedway, now South Texas Red Ranch, and then from there, that's when I started running trucks, the pro trucks in Houston, and that's how everything started, man. And from there, I mean, a lot of people have supported me through all the years. I mean, they put me on their cars, like Rick Polero, John Heil, all those guys took me into, and they helped me progress. And I couldn't be here if it was not for any of all of those guys. I mean, Red Knowles also. Alan Alexander for some races. I mean, man, it's just huge, the amount of people that has supported me through the years. And like I said, I mean, all that has taught me something and put me where we are now.
Yeah. Max, I didn't know. So you raced at McAllen? I mean, I used to go down there. Me and my dad would go down there to watch the big race. So you actually raced down there at that one? I didn't know you were old enough to have raced at that place.
Well, I raced the last year they were open. That was 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know, like 14, 15. And yes, I raced on the sport mods there. That it was like the main class. We had like, I don't know, like 10, 12 cars every race. I mean, it was good. I mean, we learned a lot there. And then sadly, it closed down after that, you know. So that's where I started to make the trips to Corpus. Yeah. And that's how I met Stevie, and then it just went from there.
Yeah, that place would make a killing right now, I think, if it was still open. So I do want to ask you about Enrique. I was talking to him after the races, and the cool thing is you, me, him, we can all talk Spanish, and nobody knows what we're saying. But I was talking about his career, being an endurance driver and, you know, driving the truck. And man, what a performance right there for him. The first night out in that modified, man, that was a hell of a drive that he had.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a good weekend for him. I mean, he's 3 times or I think 4 times national champion on the road course touring series over there in Mexico. So he's very big over there in road course, has tons of experience. He's very good at it. And then he's been with us for 2 years on the trucks. He raced, and yeah, I mean, he was his first race on a modified. And on Friday, we struggled a little bit, obviously. I mean, it's a way different car and way more power than the pro truck. Yeah. But he picked it up pretty fast, and on the race, he learned some things, and he just went to the front. I mean, he did a hell of a job, honestly.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, Max, so obviously, you got the connection with the local short tracks, and you talk about the closeness of the guys that you guys know with Daniel Suarez and all you guys down in Mexico. How cool is it to see not only a resurgence, but see the guys with, from the same background that you have, making it big in professional motorsports? You've got the Pato Award over in IndyCars. You have Daniel Suarez there in the Cup Series. You've got Chico Perez there in Formula One. It brings open eyeballs down to the racing down there in Mexico. And for a lot of people that don't know, it's really competitive, and it's getting really big down there. So how does that make you feel, seeing the resurgence of across the world getting the spotlight on some of the Mexican drivers now?
Man, I mean, it's just I'm very proud of all those guys of what they've done. I mean, it's so cool to have guys from Mexico on the top level different kind of racing. And I mean, it shows that in Mexico there's level, I mean, that there's a good level of competition, and I mean, it's not obviously as big, like I said, than here, but the guys that are actually doing it, I mean, there's some talents over there, and still right now some guys coming up that will be on the top series later on, right? I mean, there's very good talent over there. NASCAR Mexico is getting very big, and like you said, competition is so tough because it's pretty much like a spec series.
Yeah.
So all the cars are very, very similar. So it really shows on the crew chief and the driver what they do, right? So it really shows what you can do. And yes, I mean, it's pretty cool to see, for example, Pato, because he was racing at the same car track that I was racing when I was a kid. I mean, obviously he was younger, but I mean, you could see at that time that he had something. I mean, he was just very good. And then Daniel and I raced in go-karts together when we were kids, because he's from Monterrey and I'm from Reynosa, so it's an hour and a half away. It's pretty close. So my home track was actually Monterrey. So we raced each other there, and I mean, it's so cool to see all those guys just getting on the top level and doing it right. It's just I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, you should be. You should be. So, Max, rest of the year for you guys. I mean, I know we talk about Ethan, Ethan with the good runs there, and you got a great bunch of drivers there. What all are you guys looking to do the rest of the year as we continue going into the summer?
Well, we will race the rest of Houston the whole season, and then we'll make some trips, hopefully, to the Modifieds of Mayhem deals, to some of those. And we will try to make some pro late model races with Ethan and hopefully with Kenneth by the end of the year. We're not sure exactly on where, but that's what we're working on. And on the dirt side, we'll race also some at South Texas Race Ranch and 37 and Texana. I wanna take those guys to the dirt so they can learn some different stuff, right? So that's what we plan on doing, and hopefully the snowball, right? I mean, either on the trucks, modifieds, maybe the pro. So we'll see what the year has for us.
Yeah, no doubt. And more important for all of our friends that are checking in, Max, ¿cuándo te vas a poner behind the wheel otra vez y dale gas y correr? It doesn't matter asphalt or dirt. ¿Cuándo vamos a ver Max otra vez?
I'm not sure yet, man. Well, I'm gonna race Terry McCool's car on some of the Modifieds of Mayhem,
Nice.
And then hopefully I'll make some pro limo starts too at some point. But I mean, I'm definitely gonna race something because I mean I'm not done. I mean, I'm just taking a little break, right?
Yeah. No.
But I'll definitely race something this year. I mean, also on dirt, I'll probably gonna go sometime this month, either to Texana or South Texas or 37, because it's been a while since I don't race dirt, and I really like it. I mean, it's just a very fun thing to do, and I mean, it just teaches you so much.
Max, race on the 24th, June 24th. Race on that night because that I'm going to race that night too. Believe it or not.
June 24th?
June 24th in Texana.
June 24th. I'm going to race a hobby stock or whatever it's called now. So
oh, really? Well,
yeah.
I'll be there, man. I'll be there.
And the good news is I'm the
race.
Yeah,
I'm the announcer in Texana, so I'll be able to remotely get your name right too, Max.
It'll be Los Mexicanos and Edna. How about that?
I will que sí.
Yeah, that's right.
No,
that's right.
We'll be there. I mean, even if I don't race, I mean, I'll go watch you, man.
I'll go watch
and support you, right?
Don't put that pressure on me, buddy.
No, but I mean, I think you'll do good. I mean, you'll definitely do good.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of confidence, man. I mean, you can do it. You can do it.
Can I get in your Can I get in your driver program? Can you help me?
I'll definitely help you out there. I'll give you
Enséñame. I need all that.
I'm not that great at dirt, to be honest. I mean, I'm a decent average driver. I mean, I don't know if you would like to get some of my advice on dirt, but
dude, I need
on asphalt, whatever you want.
I need the dirt advice. I need all the dirt advice. I'll call you. I'll call you, Max. A ver qué podemos hacer.
Man.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, my man, Max. Proud of you, man. Good to see you this weekend. Thank you for always, supporting racing and doing everything that you do. You got a great bunch of guys there. I can't wait to see you behind the wheel, and let's just keep having fun, dude. That's what we do.
Yeah, man. Let's keep doing that, and hopefully all the year goes good for everybody. Hopefully we can have a lot of racing, no rainouts.
That's right.
And not a lot of wrecks, right?
That's right.
That's what we want for everybody. So everybody has fun, and that's what we're here for. So we'll see what we got.
Hey, Max. So when they had that big wreck in turn one, did you kind of take a deep breath after you saw all that, and your cars were okay?
Yeah, man. I mean, my blood went to my feet, man. I mean, all the way down. I mean, I was about to pass out there. I saw Ferrer, and it was so close that I was like, man, I mean, God was watching us today, because, I mean, Heaton was in front, and then he was behind, but he was able to save it. So, man, we just got very lucky there.
Yeah.
We got very lucky, and like I said, I mean, everything went smooth, and it was just a good weekend, and hopefully we can have more of those on the rest of the year.
That's right. That's right. Orale, Max. We'll talk soon, my man. Thank you for taking the time on a busy Monday.
Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and we'll see you soon, and thanks for the invitation.
You got it, buddy. Talk to you later.
See you. Bye.
You bet.
See you, Max.
There he goes, Max Calles. That I didn't realize the background with racing with Pato and with Suarez and all those guys.
Well,
I mean,
as soon as he
sense.
said they were close knit, I'm like, well, maybe he's got to know some of these guys, and apparently he does. So
yeah, no, really good stuff right there.
Maybe he could help me in my new adventure.
Yeah. You got two guys over here that need to be in the MCM driver development right here. It could be a good thing, Max. I don't know what he charges, but and really, I mean, the whole thing is, I mean, how. What's always cool to me about him, and it really hit home to me talking to him there at the SRL race in Mobile, was, he told me, it sucks. I have to step away, but I have to sit there and take care of my customers and make sure that they're, and he is. I mean, I know with Enrique Ferrer, I mean, to me that talking to him after the race, I mean, that was so cool to understand his whole history. I didn't know everything that Enrique had done, but I mean, that's a championship driver. I mean, talk about Ethan Barker. I mean, that's a dude right there that he's really good, and Max has them at their full potential, and that's the good thing about what Max is doing.
Yeah, no, Max has done a really good job of the whole program. It helps when you have good drivers.
Yeah.
Because what he's doing is he's taking great drivers that he's got and bringing them into a different type of program. I mean, Ethan runs a lot of stuff.
I know.
Remember the Motorsports Ranch in Houston? Somebody said he was running Corvettes and some other stuff there.
Yeah, he does road racing. He does all kinds of shit.
Yeah, so I mean, he's got all kind of background, but man, he didn't hardly put a wheel wrong. there on Saturday, and it seems like every time he gets a chance to be in some of Max's equipment, it's turning out to be really good. So
top-notch stuff. I mean, top-notch stuff. And the whole thing is, I mean, I know it just from some of the stuff down south. I mean, Max has helped out a lot of teams. I mean, he has helped them out. Dustin Smith, a good friend of mine, they're from Mobile. He had a motor problem. Max let him borrow a motor, stuck it in his car, got him out there on the racetrack and all that. I mean, that's what Max does. I mean, he's just a good dude. Just a good dude.
Another one of the good guys in the sport. We don't have a lot of them left, but well, maybe there's more than we think.
There's a bunch, and we got to find them. We got to find them and talk about them. Hey, guys, before we go, Rogers Dab Chevrolet, I do want to talk about those folks. Those GM Performance motors, they have those on the shelf ready to get them to you. Everything, oops, sorry about that. It's gone. Everything that you need right there, Rogers Dab Chevrolet, get a hold of them. Get a hold of them. They will get you that 602, the 604. I know some of the crate late model drivers looking for that 604. Rogers Dab Chevrolet, they will get that for you and get it to you as cheap as possible. And make sure that you're race ready and ready for race time. Rogers Dab Chevrolet GM Performance, they will set you up. Great program, Bobby. Looking forward to the weekend, and kind of like we were talking about right there. And I got to tell you what I was impressed about with James Lopez. Lots of things, but you know, it's so funny that we as racers and promoters, we're always like, well, you know, we're going to race this weekend. James Lopez seems pretty confident that they're not going to race this weekend.
Yeah, well, not to say that they're not. There's still hope, but it doesn't look like the forecast I show for everywhere shows that it's going to be a good weekend. Be a good weekend to stay inside and take care of Mama this weekend.
That's right.
So that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, Mother's Day weekend coming up, and it's perfect for that.
But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, speaking of fun, I'm finally going to call Mike Knotts back. Because he always wants me to race one of his legacy cars, and I always tell him I'll call him, and he told me in Houston, he says, you always tell me you're going to call me, and you never call me. So I think now is going to be the time to call. I'm inspired by you getting back in the pure stock there at Texana, so I'm going to try to race one of the Lone Star Legacy cars there at HMP. If not this upcoming race on the 10th, it'll be the race after that. So, got to get some sponsorship lined up. I got to get a new helmet, some new shoes, a new suit, and some of that stuff lined up. But we'll work something out to try to get some sponsors lined up to make that deal happen.
Well, and about that 24th race, I mean, last time I drove one of those, I somehow got a top 10 out of a hell of a lot of cars, 22 cars, whatever it was. This time, I'm gonna give me a top 3. I mean, because the whole thing is with Tony and those guys, and Tony, Blankenship. I mean, those cars are always in the top 3. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know who's going to drive the other 2, and it's going to be Lawrence, and it's going to be Howard Willis, and I in the Novas. So
really,
we going top 3, bitches. We're going top 3.
I didn't realize that Howard was going to run one of the Novas.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. 3 of us.
That's good promotion right there.
Lawrence, Howard, and I.
Who came up with that idea?
I don't know. Monty.
Probably Monty.
Monty Chamberlain. And I do want to say, I mean, I'm going out on a limb here. I'm going to beat those guys. They race all the other stuff. I'm a stock car guy. I'm going to get their ass on this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them. Between everything they taught me last year and between what Max is going to teach me,
I say Max could be the difference, dude.
Winner.
Max could be the difference for you over there.
And I don't need you people messaging me and saying that you need that put Max in the car instead of you. Bullshit. I'm a lot fatter than him. People will know the difference. Max had the big old hair that Max still has the big hair that I cut today. But no, man, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, no, that's all it's about. That's what James Lopez said. It's all about having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And some people forget that. Yes, it's a hobby. Yes, it's a very expensive hobby. Yes, you do have to run hobbies like businesses on some of it. But don't forget, guys, racing is about having fun. It's competition that's supposed to be fun, and people lose sight of that all the time. So don't forget about that. Competition is good, and a little fire in the belly is good too. But don't forget to have a little bit of fun with this, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. And I know we get carried away and get into all this, and that's why we do this show to kind of bring that back. I mean, to what it's all about. I mean, the love of everything. And there are so many different things in the sport. I mean, there's a lot of politics. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes and all of that. But what it all comes down to, getting out there, having a good time, and just that's a good thing about this show. We can kind of dial it all back, just sit here and bullshit, and just that's why we say hashtag Real Race Talk. I mean, a lot of folks are like, wow, man, I love the takes that you guys have. You know, you're going to say, and I said it the other night at the racetrack, I'm like, we're going to say what people don't want to say, and we're going to say what people don't want to hear. But at the same time, we're going to say the things that people do want to hear because this is for fun. I mean, that's why we started doing this shit.
Yeah, I mean, we did it to have a good time, and we did it to, we never knew it took off to, or have taken off to where it has landed so far, but it definitely is, it's a good ride, and, you know, we had the platform to try to make our voices heard. Of course, that's the point of trying to have a show, because if we didn't have a show, we wouldn't have a voice. But we allow other people to bring in their voices too. You know, we get to listen to the promoters and the racers and some of the good feel-good stories, like we got to go in depth with Chris Morris about his stuff. We get to go in depth with our Texas legends that we have, both asphalt and dirt racing. So we take the platform to the show to a whole nother level, and it's all because of you guys. They keep listening and keep watching. That's as long as y'all keep listening and keep watching, we're going to keep doing it as long as we can.
That's right. That's exactly right. So like we've said throughout the duration of the show, find a local short track. Get out there. And if not, celebrate your mom.
Yeah.
Your mama.
This weekend, okay, we might give you a pass this weekend with the weather not being so good to support your local short track.
Yeah.
But,
hashtags this week are hashtag Real Race Talk and hashtag Yo Mama. Because that's, I think, all that we're going to celebrate this week.
Yeah, it might be the only thing. So check in. We'll check in with everybody else. So.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Mr. Lopez, for checking in. Thank you, Max Calles. Really good stuff right there. Hey, guys, don't forget, you can still sign up and play fantasy racing with us. Never too late. We don't have a prize, but it's cool to win if you're like the winner of the week.
Yeah, if you're winner of the week, it's pretty big because it's hard to win in that thing. Just ask the two of us.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, guys, back on Monday. Hashtag Real Race Talk from Texas. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. Be well, y'all.